All right, everyone, welcome back to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB, and we are in the Ignite podcast studio with Lorna Morton, right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so I know nothing about what you do.
Okay.
All I know is I got a name on my email and on my calendar, and I was super excited to meet you today.
All right. I'm so glad to hear that. The name 2Smiley feet, because I love to smile. Okay. I love to work on feet. And the goal is to keep people with 2 feet
Mhm.
because amputation is really huge in the diabetic community. People who have diabetes can end up with an infection. And if that infection is not looked at and monitored, it can literally lead to amputation. I have a client that's actually in rehab at Salon Gardens right now.
Really?
Yeah, he had a wound and he started a new therapy group, which was going well. And that his regular therapist went on, like, let's say, vacation. And so the substitute therapist did this no pain, no gain attitude and opened that wound up that day,
Stop.
that day. And he literally had to have it rewrapped and everything.
Wow.
And that, look, now, this is just May, okay? So that was March 15th. March 22nd, he went back to the wound care clinic for a rewrapping. By March 29th, by Good Friday of Easter or for other holidays, he was in the hospital.
Really?
Yes. I kind of tapped my hand because I remember between that Wednesday and that Friday when I would go and visit with him, the spirit said, he passed and Rodney is going to be in touch with you. And I remember thinking, Lorna, shame on you. What in the world is wrong with you? But lo and
Really?
behold, when I texted him that Friday and he didn't respond, so I was like, oh yeah, he's on heavy medication. Let me call him. I called him and he was like, yeah, I'm at St. Mary's. And I'm like, what you been cutting up doing? What are you doing? He's like, I don't even know how I got here. I think I died. I said, okay, hold up. Let me pull over. I need to be able to really talk to you. And so he ended up with surgery the next day. I went to see him in the hospital. I did his manicure for him there in the hospital, did a facial for him, because, these were things that I was doing for him in his home. That's how we met. And as time went on, I'm talking to him and I'm like, so what's going on? When are they letting you go? He's like, I don't really know. And I'm like, they haven't told you anything? He said, no. I kind of felt bad that I actually said, you don't think it's leading towards amputation, do you? He said, I have no idea. They haven't told me anything. I was like, well, what about Rodney, his main caregiver? It's like, nope, they haven't told him anything either.
Really?
And I'm like, well, okay. So some time went on. I didn't know because I'm not a medical person. I deal with people in medical situations. So I didn't know if that was a kind of like, hey, if you want to back off, mind your business kind of thing, or I really don't know. So I waited and I prayed about it, but I waited. And so here comes right there, the end of April, and I'm thinking about it. And I said, okay, I'm gonna text Rodney. Rodney, can you let me know what's going on? He sent me a picture and showing me how his foot had been amputated.
What?
Keep in mind, Evie, it was the foot of the left leg. That was the leg that he could use. The right leg from his stroke that he had had was the one that was giving him problems.
How did
That
that happen?
it just, this is what happens. This is what can happen. His diabetes, he was already in a condition in which, an infection can go sepsis and it could wreak havoc over the body. So for him to say, I almost died, that's real. When an infection can go sepsis,
Yeah.
that is real. And I'm not trying to be a medical person. I just know that, I know that
From
experience.
experience,
My
yeah.
mother had a UTI and she passed away in 2020
I'm
before COVID, from a UTI infection that went sepsis. And it's real. So even when I hear someone, I heard a client today said, that her neighbor had infection. I said, wait, are you going with them? Who's going with them? They need to make sure that they are paying attention, that they said something about infection. She said his daughter's going with him. She works at McGuire Hospital. She's going to make sure. I said, I don't mean to be a stickler. I'm just telling you, you've got to push this because people just take it like, oh, it's not my body. Oh, I can't feel it. Oh, let's just give them this. It's really serious. It really is. So 2Smiley Feet goal is to help people who are in home health care situations. Like I was telling you earlier, I used to work at a lot of retirement communities. I worked in Alzheimer's units. I worked in assisted living facilities. Right now, I personally work in rehab facilities. I went to see Mr. Evans at St. Mary's Hospital, and I did his manicure there in the hospital. I've seen him at Shalom Gardens, did his manicure there. So I'm able to go into these places, again, to help people in a health situation. And the hardest part is that I'm just one person.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about the training center, and I'm already thinking of how to gather other professionals who
Exactly.
want to do this kind of work. I'm like, there's somewhere I can actually send them to bring them to
Yep.
train, because I really can't do all this work. I really can't. It has really picked up since, post-COVID. And people are really understanding and finding out that there really is someone out there that will come around and clip my toenails for me.
You're so right. And it's like we were talking before, you don't know unless it happens to you
Mm.
or it happens to like someone in your family that
Yes.
you know. It's really important that people be aware of all these different things. We are so self-centered and caught up in ourselves and what's going on in our lives. Yeah, you know what? Self-care and self-love is important
Mhm.
because it helps you be better for everybody else.
If you're paying attention to yourself, right? And your mother, your aunt, your uncle, your grandfather, you're looking at them and you're like, I do this for myself. Has this ever been done for you?
Yeah.
Are you doing this? Let me see your feet. Let me look at your feet. I laugh. I've been telling people about this. It's so funny. A few weeks back, a young lady called me. And I could tell she was a senior. So I know with a lot of seniors, they're not likely to be online, and I understand that, but their children are, their grandchildren are. And so I was like, well, I'm just asking, how did you find out about me? And she said boldly, I called 12 on your side. I said, okay, wait. I want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. You said you called 12, you mean in TV station? She said, yes. She said, I'm 80 years old. I'm in hospice care and I'm laying in my bed and I don't have anybody to clip my toenails. And I thought of the podcast, the section on 12 on your side. I said, if you have any problems, call 12 on your side. She said, so I dialed the number and I told her my situation. And the young lady told me she'll call me back. And 10 minutes later, she called me back and she gave me your name and number. I laugh about it because I'm like, God, you are putting me in so many places that I don't
Yeah.
even know where I'm at. But it's because those are the groups that I help, really.
And
They're
that's,
in one.
you said not a lot of younger people know about it because they're always on social media,
Mm.
but I want people to understand like that younger generation. I call BBB.org calling dad.
Okay.
I grew up in a small town, Harrisonburg, Virginia. My dad owned a local business for 30 years. He knew everybody and anybody that could fix a problem for you.
I'm out.
You know?
Yes.
And so with the first time I got my car and I had a problem with it, I called my dad. And I said, I don't know who to take my car to. I'm here at VCU. I don't trust anybody. What if they rip me off like you always told me they might?
Okay. Dad
You
knows.
know? So he knew exactly. He's like, call your uncle. He knows somebody to take your car to. Makes your grandma go there all the time.
There you go.
Call my uncle. And the BBB.org is just like that.
That's
They
right.
find people like you, businesses like you, who uphold our values as long as you're in your own of integrity, honesty, truth, and respect.
Exactly. And I think even for the younger generation, I like to specify that when I'm talking to someone and I get a phone call, I really do screen them. I don't have any problem with someone who wants to be beautiful. I think that's great. I do my self-care. So heads up, that you're supposed to take care of yourself. But if I designated most of my time for those who want to be, beautiful, and I miss out on those who really need me, then I'm in the wrong area.
Yeah.
So that's why I specify that my services are for those in health care needs. Yes, I'm in the beauty care industry or the health and beauty industry, cosmetology industry. I am a licensed manicurist, yes, pedicurist, but I really go on the other side in helping those who, like, I work for group homes who have individuals with mental, physical disabilities. I work in those scenarios that you just don't really find a manicurist, pedicurist going, because I know that they need the help as well. So it really is to reach out and help people to know that this in our age, okay, personally, My daughter will be 27 in June. My daughter has brain cancer
I'm sorry.
personally. And now she's not at a point where she is so disabled that she can't move. Thank God. I know some family members that look at her and like, she don't have cancer. I said, well, God is just keeping her like that. Thank you. But I know the days that she's feeling bad after having the chemo treatment. I have seen her toenails. They're dark from the chemo treatment. Honestly, she'll be 27 next month. She has my grandson who will be 4 in September. She lost her husband in 2022. She's a single widow and she's a young woman and she's on social media. She knows different things. So it's really not about age anymore. That gentleman I'm talking about that ended up at St. Mary's Hospital, March 21st was his birthday. When I looked on his calendar, because he was still at home then, when I looked on his calendar, I said, oh, so you got a birthday coming up. And I looked and I said, and you're going to be 55. He said, yeah, well, it's not going to be any different than any other day. I said, well, we'll see about that. I made sure to take him a small cupcake
Oh.
and a small banana pudding because unfortunately I had a life celebration to attend for a little cousin that day, which was right up the street. So I said, I'm just stopping by to bring this to you because I want to tell you happy birthday to
That's
you.
so
Just to
sweet.
let him know. And it's the age is changing for health and your care.
Yeah.
It really is changing. And I remember we took my grandson to a doctor's appointment in Charles City, and there was a young lady in there from VCU that was conducting a study. Now, because we weren't from that area, we didn't take the study, but her reason for being there was, and she said, do you know any youth or young people who have cancer? And my daughter just looked and she was like, wow. She said, I'm not going to take somebody else's spot to answer. And they would give you like a gift card, something like that for your time.
Mhm.
But it was the idea that it's enough that they're doing studies. Young people are dealing with health issues, just like seniors, just like people in the middle
yeah.
ages. It's really serious. And so hopefully, people can start to pay attention to themselves, loving themselves, taking care of themselves. And when you have those little quirks, those little things that just don't feel right, go get it checked out because you just never know. It could really be something serious. Hopefully it's not, but it
That's
could
what
be.
I tell myself every day, I remind myself, you need to be thankful for the healthy body that you have
Mm.
and stop complaining about, I don't look like this and I don't look like that. But your body gets you up every day
Okay.
and it helps you get through your day. And you get to come home and have the energy to play with your pup
Mm.
and hang out with your family. So when you think about that, stop complaining about not looking like a model out of a magazine.
I'm just saying, when I meet someone and they say, oh, you don't want to look at my feet. My feet are the worst feet. I said, let me see them. Let me see them because I can bet you that yours are not the worst I've ever seen. I have seen my share. Thank you. I really have. And in that, I love it when I see a problem because it gets me so excited. Y'all, I love what I do. I love working on feet. I know it's not your average conversation around the table. I understand it. But when I see a pair of feet that I know is going to be a challenge, I swallow my extra saliva because I've just got it power. And I'm like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you and you're going to see it. And I'm there to take care of you, get this taken care of. So yeah, you have people who look at, a model's foot in a magazine and they're comparing their foot to that. Yeah, that's not the foot I take care of anyway. The foot I take care of, they won't post online. The foot I take care of, they're like, no, you're not taking pictures of my feet. Somebody sneaks a picture and takes it and gives it to me. They're like, look, I went ahead and took a picture for you because I saw that. I said, whoa. I said, shh, don't say anything. And I'm not keeping the pictures for pride, for buying that. I'm really trying to work on the numbers,
Yeah.
the data. Because we talked about that, right? You have to have the numbers to back up what's going on. And I'm gonna be honest, when I go into an appointment, I'm set to do that appointment.
Yeah.
And I really need to be better about that. But I try to remember, especially with new clients, to tell them I need to take pictures because it's not, and I'm not trying to take pictures of you smiling or anything, literally from your calf on down to your foot, so that I'm able to show the problems that I'm coming across when I'm working for people.
It helps you for the next time
That's
too,
right. That's
right?
right. Yeah. Well, before and after, definitely. I mean, I know I'm gonna make a change. I don't doubt it in that sense,
Yeah,
but it's just for like the idea of being able to help others to come to know that are not in that situation,
Yeah.
okay? That are saying, my feet are the worst you've ever seen. Like, I can show you a pair of feet and you would say, oh, Lord, no. Yeah. Be thankful for what you have and how
Yeah.
you have it is not that bad. Or if you do feel like they're that bad, let me show you how to take care of them. Because I really don't think I'm doing something that a person can't do. I haven't mentioned it and I'm not selling anything, but I do use a Mary Kay system, satin hands, and I learned about it through the pandemic. So I have a lot of different products in my kit, but some of them, one of them in particular, I don't really recommend to somebody unless I know that they're really listening to me because you need a pair of gloves on when you use that product. It's like Callus Terminator. It's a serious product. It has to be washed off. Has to be. So during the pandemic, a family member talked about the satin hands. So I bought it and I was using it. So as I'm using it, I'm buffing on my heels. I said, hey, this is a good product. So now for the person who doesn't have a lot of skin built up, this is great. But again, that's not my regular person.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, this is good to know. So I use it for the hands. When I'm doing the manicure, I make sure to apply that skin softener. I use that sugar scrub. I am washing their hands off. Of course, clipping the nails, filing the nails, pushing the cuticles back, carefully. That's after we've done all of the soaking. And I really don't advertise manicures because it's 2Smiley feet, but it's not uncommon for someone to say, hey, you're here, you're doing my feet, can you work on my hands too? Yeah, I can work on your hands. And most people can work on their own hands. So that's the way I take it. But in that, when I'm helping them, I want them to feel like, I don't want them to feel like, well, I could have done that.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable. That's not professional. That is not the last word I want you to have. I want you to feel like, thank you
Yeah.
for helping to take care of me. I'm part of your care team. That's what I'm here for. Sure enough,
I
that's
love
what I'm here
that.
for. And I look forward to having more people to understand it and come along and be a part of the care teams that are taking care of people as well, while taking care of yourself. So I promote that in all kinds of ways, from mindset, advocate for domestic violence, I advocate for sexual violence, I advocate for mental health, I advocate, for self-care. All of those things matter when you're the person. If you're a caregiver, you know this, but when you're the person taking care of people, you must take care of yourself. It's just like when you get on a plane, right? They tell you if there's an emergency, put your mask on first, then you can help others.
Yes.
It's the same thing about caregiving.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. So, the caregivers, the wives or the caregivers that work for people, I talk to them and help them out too. So,
Great minds think alike.
yeah.
I use that example. I have a personal podcast. And I use that example about when talking about self-care is because I go to Greece to see my family and I listen to that. And you do have to put the mask on yourself first before you put on someone else. If you're not 100% okay, you're not in any position to be taking care of anybody else.
That's right. That's
It
right.
means you won't be doing it 100% like you
That's
should
right.
be.
That's right. And even in that, when you're taking care of yourself, you're showing yourself love.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's, maybe it's polishing your nails, maybe it's doing your hair, maybe it's tweezing your eyebrows, whatever it may be. It's shaving your beard, whatever it may be, but you're showing yourself love. Now, then you have to realize, what is love? Is love just a word? Or is it really about the action? Am I understanding what love is? So we can love ourselves and then we are able to love others. And it's not always about giving money, it's about giving your time, it's about giving to them. So yeah, if I meet someone, they say, well, my granddaughter does my fingernails. I am so glad to know that. Please tell her if she has any questions, ask me. I'll be glad to help her out. And she's like, well, I told you you were coming over. Don't take her job from her. No, let her, y'all spend that time together. That's good time. But I'll come and do your feet for you, no problem. Yes.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, okay. It's just, again, you don't want to interrupt that. That's really how things should be. That's relationships. So that's what I build. I build relationships with my clients,
I love
people I
that.
work with, places I go. I grew up old school, watch what you say, treat people like you are family, and be respectful.
Yeah.
Have some manners, and that's what I work on. Yes. So that's why me and BBB, we're
I was
there.
gonna say, it's funny because
We're there.
we had a gentleman in here earlier, and he was talking about how he used to work in the hospitality industry. He worked in hotels,
Mhm.
and he said our hotels were so successful because we treated everybody like family. And it really is, like you said, like the BBB, everyone in here is like family to
Mhm.
me. I feel like I'm coming to an extension of my family every morning.
Okay.
This is the first job I can honestly say I love my job.
You're saying a lot, Evie. I tell you, you're saying a lot.
Yeah,
That's a whole nother podcast because
is.
that is a lot of times what's happening. People are not in love with where they're working or what they're doing, but we have been able to find what we
Yeah.
love. So, I can be getting down on the floor because I sit down on the floor in front of a person when I'm doing a pedicure. And they're like, you just get down on the floor like that. I said, I'm doing it as long as I can. You got me. I'm gonna do this because I love what I do. And they'll see me working and talking and acting, and then they're like, I can tell you really do love this. I love what I do. And it makes a difference because that person senses it and we're exchanging energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're getting this positive energy. They're not getting this, I can't stand. They're getting this positive energy deflected right onto them. Push, 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 feeding it onto them. And then they're like, I feel great. That's what I want to hear. That's what I hear. So your feet are smiling? Yes. Both of them? Yes. Okay. Let me see you smile on your face. That's good. That's what we go for. So it makes a big difference to like where you're working at, like the work that you're doing, but the people you're working around 8 hours, 10 hours, yeah, it makes a big difference to have that bond with them. So I know I met the CEO.
Yeah, you met Barry.
Barry, and I could like I met him, but I don't want to just say Barry like we cousins and everything. But I was just like, wow, this is the kind of introduction that
Yeah.
you want to be able to talk with someone and not feel like I can't talk to you, like you're not approachable. He walked up to me and I said, okay, hey, hey, hey. He liked my
Yeah.
t-shirt, my faith-based t-shirt. He liked that. I'm like, well, thank you. So it really is. I noticed that right away. I said, hey, that makes a difference right
It
there.
really does.
I knew that makes a difference. So unfortunately, I've worked in places where I can walk in and I can feel the tension.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine for people who have to live in those environments or work in those environments, how it is that's when you leave out and you're just like, and you regret having to go back, but you go because you know you have to. But I would challenge anyone, if you're in those scenarios, be the light. Be the light that they can see.
Yeah.
You just never know who you might infect with the light.
Exactly.
Okay. And that's what I try to be.
Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I had a great time talking
Yes,
to you
yes.
before and in here.
Okay. I look forward to talking with you again.
I look forward to you coming again.
Okay.
I think we can have great Spark Talk conversations.
Yes.
Now that everybody's gotten to get you a little bit more in what you do and your background. Thank you, Lorna, for joining me.
Thank you, Abby, for having me.
Thank you. Really, thank you. I don't get a lot of fun interactions. I always enjoy everybody that I have here, but sometimes it's hard to really understand where someone is coming from because you don't vibe with everybody 100%.
Yes.
But with you, it was a great conversation. I had a great time.
Here we go.
I wish that the entire facility was available for you to check out today.
Okay. Yes, we heard about that, but that's
Yeah.
okay. I will be back. because
Another
I need to
time.
Checking out that studio. real quick, teach
Exactly.
the classes. I gotta get some more professionals. We got work to do.
Yes.
Yes.
We need some smiley feet.
Okay. Two. You gotta
Two
have two.
smiley
You want
feet.
two.
Well, thank you again for joining us.
I appreciate
This
it.
is BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Ignite Sparked by BBB Central Virginia, and like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. All the videos and podcasts are posted there and on Spotify. Thank you.
Have a great day.